We're gathered here this afternoon in honor and memory of Mrs. Ruby Mae Thompson, age 90, of Brodhead. She passed from this life on Sunday, March 22nd, 2026 at Rockcastle Regional Hospital. She was born at Bandy in Pulaski County on December the 1st, 1935, the daughter of George and Hazel Thompson Hamm. She was a retired cook for the Rockcastle County School System. Ruby had been a loyal member of the Fairview Church of Christ for over 60 years. And I know she has been faithful as long as her body will allow her to attend. She is survived by her great-granddaughter, Caydee Rae Hasty, her step-granddaughter, Delani Reynolds, a brother, Glen Hasty, and wife Joyce, and two sisters, Fern, Colyer, Verla, Hopkins, also surviving are numerous nephews, nieces, and friends. In addition to her parents, she was preceded in death by her first husband, Glen Hasty, her second husband, Willis Thompson, her children, Randall Hasty, two infants, a grandson, Randall Hasty, and a sister, Rose DeBorde, and husband, A.F. I've known Sister Ruby more than 35 years. I know that they have really done a nice job on preparing her today for the visitation. She looks beautiful today. She certainly does. We thank all that's taken part in this. Happy to see each and every one of you here today. I'm hobbling around. I found out about 3 weeks ago I had a fractured vertebrae, so I've been sort of limping around and hanging in there. I was on a call and asked about doing this funeral. I said, well, if I'm able to get out, I'll be able to, so the Lord willing, I'm here. Now, I'm sure that most all of you realize that this service is not for the benefit of Sister Ruby. We've done about all that we be able to do for Sister Ruby here. After we leave here, we go to the cemetery. Then after she goes in the ground, we be going our separate ways. So this service is really for those of us that are left. And we need to think about it very, very seriously. Oh, yes. Regardless of what I say or anyone else has to say about Sister Ruby, cannot and will not change her eternal destiny. No way. She sealed her destiny by the life she has lived in this fleshly body, just as each of us will. We need to keep that in mind. This service is for the benefit of those of us that are left behind, who have to live in this world until we keep this appointment of death, which we will keep. We might miss a lot of appointments in this life, but we will keep this appointment of death because God says we will. And He doesn't lie. We all are going to die for sure, physically. We know that. So let's keep that thought in mind. Oh, yes. Hebrews 9:27 tells us that. This service is a reminder that death is as certain as life itself and no one will escape it. And Ruby understood this. She understood what Job was saying there in Job 14:1 and 2. Man that's born of woman is a few days and full of trouble. Cometh forth like a flower and is cut down. He fleeteth also as a shadow and continueth not. So we see the Bible has much to say about death. But death doesn't end it all. Oh no, it certainly does not. Death is this vehicle that God uses to carry the soul to the place that He has prepared for the soul to await the judgment. Then the body will go back to dust from which it came. We can read this in the Bible. And as most of you, I'm sure, understand, that God doesn't lie. What He says goes. So we need to keep that in mind. Now, even though God has made a way, and that way is Jesus Christ, that we all will not have to die spiritually if we obey the gospel of Christ, become part of His family, we have an opportunity then to go to the other place, in heaven. But that's for those that follow Him faithfully. We need to keep that in mind as well. Thank God that He is a merciful God, and He's a fair and just God, and we can realize and understand that Ruby will get a fair judgment. You know, living the Christian life is a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week job. We don't take any vacations from God if we're a Christian. Need not. Some will. Some have. As long as we're able to go, let us never fall away from the Lord. No vacations from Him. He tells us as His children to let our light so shine before men that they'll see our good works, but glorify our Father who art in heaven. In Matthew 5:16. How many of us are doing what Jesus is talking about as we read in Matthew 25:31 through 40? Let's think about this just for a moment. When the Son of Man shall come in His glory, and all angels with Him, then shall He sit upon the throne of His glory, and behold, think about this, before Him He shall gather all nations, and He that separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth sheep from the goats. He shall set the sheep on the right hand, and the goats on the left. Then shall the King say unto them, Blessed am my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. I was hungry, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. In prison, and you came unto me. Then shall the righteous say unto Him, Lord, when saw we thee a hungered and fed thee, thirsty and give thee a drink? When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, and naked and clothed thee? Or when saw we sick and in prison and came unto thee? And the King shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, insomuch as ye done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Do we realize that when we do the things that are right, what God says about this? Doing it for Him. God is righteous. We're to strive to be as righteous as we possibly can. And those that have been doing this, He shall say on the left hand, say, you're accursed and you're going to everlasting fire prepared for the devil. For those that will not do what we just read. Are we doing this? Are we paying attention to those round about us that are hungry? Do we take time for that? Too many people are what we call taking too much time trying to make a living just to get by. But the question is, what kind of preparations are we making when we face this appointment of death? We're going to talk about that for a few minutes. Oh, yes. Now, if I died or you died right now, will we be on the left or on the right after thinking about what we just read? What are we doing for one another, our fellow man? Oh, yes. I wonder if most of us realize in a sense that each one of us is preaching our own funeral every day that we live. Oh, yes, we are. We're even making judgments for our preparation. You know, how we live. Because that's what we're going to be judged by, how we live in this fleshly body. Oh, yes. Think about it. Life is so short. According to what we can read there in James 4:14, it's like a vapor. It's here for just a little while and then vanisheth away. You know, in Ecclesiastes 12, verse number 7, talks about this body together. It says, then shall the dust return to earth as it was, and the spirit shall return to God who gave it. We just talked about this now. James says that when the spirit leaves this body, that's physical death. That's when death occurs. It's when the spirit leaves this body. That's physical death. Ecclesiastes 3:1 and 2, in everything there's a season, a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted. And then we need to be reminded of Psalms 89:48 when it says, what man is he that liveth that shall not see death? Oh, we're all going to die. We don't like to talk about it sometimes, don't like to think about it. But we do need to try to make preparations for it. Let's look at some passages that will help us to prepare for eternity in heaven. As we think about Matthew 22, 36 through 40, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? And Jesus said unto him, thou shalt love thy Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and prophets. Now the question again. Are we doing that? This is time for us to examine ourselves right now while we have a sound mind or able to get out. Think about these things. Think about our life. Think about the scriptures that have been given to us to sort of lead us how we ought to live this life. Are we following that? Do we take time to be mindful of one another? We must, because if we're not making time for others, he says, I'm not going to make time for you. Think about this, friends and brethren. Think about it. You know, in James 4:17 says, for those who know to do good and do it not, to him is sin. Galatians 6:10 says, you have therefore opportunity to do good unto all men, but especially for those of the household of faith. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let's hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God, keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Are we doing these things? If not, then we're not ready for our funeral. Now remember, we're going to be judged by the things we're doing or not doing in this life. Very quickly, let's go over a little checklist to see if there's some things in our life that we tonight might need to really pay attention to today. As we make these preparations, first of all, and I'm sure I'm addressing people that believe there is a God, that Jesus Christ is His Son, there is a Holy Spirit, and there's going to be a day of judgment. I believe I'm addressing people that understand that. Because if you didn't, you probably would have no part in this. So yes, you do understand, I'm sure. Maybe we may not understand all we think we know about some of it. But God gives us everything that we need to know if we'll simply get in there and read and study. First thing, are you a Christian? I'm not going to go into a sermon telling you what you need to do to become a Christian. If you're interested, I'm going to let you read that for yourself when you get home or at next time you take an opportunity to do that. And if you'll turn your New Testament to Acts the 2nd chapter, and you'll follow what those people did there, beginning in verse, I believe it is about 36, and read through verse 47. If you do what those people did 2,000 years ago, God will bless you just like He did those 3,000 that obeyed that gospel. If you're interested in that, just read those passages. That's as simple as I can make it. Think about it. Now remember Matthew 6:33, we're to seek the Lord daily. The necessities of life will come to us. How many things in your life that you know of right now that you need to change before we keep this appointment down? You and the Lord knows. Maybe a lot of other people think they know about other people, but we don't know other people's hearts. God knows everything. But we know our own. Oh yes, we certainly do. And if we do have those things in mind right now, the question is, when do you think we need to start trying to make that change? Today would be a very good day to start thinking about that. Paul says in 2 Corinthians 6:2, today is the day of salvation. Think about these things. I think we have a song coming up. I believe they're going to play a song for the viewing.